go south. As far south as it is possible to travel. Journey to the very end of the earth. And you will find yourself in a place that is frozen in time. Go south to a place that has never known war, that belongs to no nation, that is home to no tribe or clan or indigenous race. This is Antarctica, the loneliest, coldest, driest place on Earth. And yet, even here, man has left his mark. Since the first explorers crossed the polar ocean and set foot on fields of ice in the early 1820s, this forbidding continent has drawn hundreds of travelers and adventurers from across the globe. Some, such as Amundsen and the doomed party of Robert Scott, have come in the spirit of restless questing that drives man to go where no man has gone before. Many nations have established bases and research stations here. People come and people go, and often when they go, this is what some have left behind. Hundreds of tons of twisted, tangled metal, abandoned equipment, barrels and barrels of waste. This is the hidden legacy of man's Antarctic missions. The big question: why should anyone care? After all, this is the great frozen wasteland of the South. But not everyone on Earth thinks that way. Professor Robert Swan, OBE, one of the foremost polar travelers of his generation, and the first man in history to walk to the South and North Poles. He has crossed hundreds of kilometers of windswept, icy terrain. In the process, trudging beneath the searing sun, exposed to the blinding white light that breaks its way through the hole in the ozone layer, the eyes of Robert Swan have been opened. Opened to man's desecration of this once pristine landscape, and opened to the power of positive action. Action that could change the world. In 1992, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Robert Swan pledges himself to a long-term vision, a plan of action that many dismiss as fantasy. Challenged by world leaders to deliver a positive global and local message to the next World Summit, a message involving young people, the environment, and the world of business. He sets out on a mission that becomes a personal quest. In his own small way, he pledges to clean up the Antarctic and help preserve the world's last great wilderness for future generations. He calls it Mission Antarctica. It begins with a small, symbolic step at a site called Bellingshausen, one of the original Antarctic ice stations. Man, indeed, has left his mark here, in the form of more than 1,000 tons of scrap and waste. In partnership with the Russians, it takes years of planning, fundraising, and organization. It calls on the cooperation of many nations and the tireless labor of a growing international team for whom the icy winds hold no fear. The scrap and waste must be painstakingly lifted, sorted, and loaded for transportation by ship to distant Uruguay, where it will be recycled and safely disposed of. It is a battle against enormous odds, against the cruel elements of nature and the even more merciless skepticism of man. But in January 2002, almost 10 years after his pledge in Rio, Robert Swan can stand on King George Island and say to the world, mission accomplished. The landscape around Bellingshausen is once again unspoiled. Seals, penguins and other birds have returned to reclaim their territory. And yet, the real mission has only just begun. Today, the global challenge is not simply to clean up a distant continent, not simply to remove and recycle Antarctic waste. Today, the challenge is to spread across the world the local message that people can and must make a difference. That a single idea can spark an avalanche of positive thought, positive energy, positive action. That we too, in our own backyards, can take small steps to save the planet, to preserve its natural beauty and integrity for the generations of tomorrow. As the Earthship, the communications yacht from the original Antarctic cleanup, makes its way overland to the World Summit in Johanesburg 2002, continuing its journey of education, of inspiration, of global partnership and local action. In a dynamic partnership with Love Life, a youth organization dedicated to the fight against AIDS in South Africa. Feverish preparations are underway to construct a base camp in the heart of the Ubuntu Media Village at the World Summit 2002 in Johannesburg. Destined to become a talking point at the World Summit on Sustainable Development, teams labor around the clock to construct Ice Station Johannesburg. A vast, unforgettable monument to the ravages of waste. And the power of positive action to achieve sustainable solutions. 45 people from 30 nations around the globe converge on the ice station to tell the Mission Antarctica story to the world. These passionate international ambassadors of communities, corporations, and countries have a sacred task: to win hearts and minds, to encourage people to take small, positive steps in their own worlds, to clean up their act, in effect, to inspire people into action. The best inspiration is to go out there and just do it yourself. Within sight of the World Summit precinct of Sandton City, an international team of Mission Antarctica Inspireneers showed just how it's done, getting their hands dirty together with the local community in the nearby Alexandra Township. In the ensuing weeks, these Inspireneers and the man behind the mission, Robert Swan, share their story of inspiration with heads of state, prime ministers, VIPs, and over 35,000 visitors who flock to the ice station in their thousands each day. Together, they form the team that consistently places the ice station in the #1 slot at the World Summit's Ubuntu Village. Robert Swan and the team launch their global plans for the future at the World Summit. All projects the organization now takes on will be under the Inspire banner. No one is inspired by the negative. It is not the lack of information that is the challenge in the world today. It is the lack of inspiration. The journey of inspiration, of global partnership and local action continues. As the team embarks on the SAP Cape to Rio race in the yacht Inspire 2041, with a development team of young leaders taking an inspiring, positive message back to the original Earth Summit city of Rio, another team in partnership with Coca-Cola and Love Life plans the circumnavigation of Africa. Still another Inspire expedition in partnership with Coca-Cola returns once again to the place where it all began, Antarctica, to help establish sustainable solutions to the ongoing challenge of waste. Antarctica, the frozen continent. But this is not just a land of ice. This is the blank canvas for a better tomorrow. For here lies the real message of Inspire. The future of the planet, the future of its people, is in our hands. One small step is all it takes. Join the mission. Make a difference. Inspire and be inspired. It's time to get down to business and help turn our own small part of the planet into a better place for all. Because when you put your heart and mind to it, anything on Earth is possible.